everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Daily Market Commentary. It is the 26th of October. Hope everybody had a great trading day. We are just about at the end of our trading day, about to have the closing bell. But I figured I would just pop this out a little bit early today for no other reason than I got stuff to do. So let's go ahead and get started. For those of you that are new to the channel and new to this video, what we do every day is look at the same futures markets. And the key is that when we look at these markets, we leave our lines on the charts. We're exposing ourselves and putting it out there. You see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that's really important because as a trader, as an investor, in order for you to grow and to get better, it's good to see how the positions evolve over time. I was speaking to a very good friend of mine today who's in a position where he kind of feels like he has to trade every day. And one of the things that I tell people is there's never a day you have to trade. You only want to trade when the opportunities present themselves. And so today, we didn't get a lot of opportunities to present themselves, but a couple of them, and they're, working out pretty well. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. I'm going to start with the S&P and looking at our S&P levels. We still have these levels down here. Remember, the dashed line is an entry that I only want to get in if price comes into the zone and then as it goes out. A blue line is, for me, a breakout trade. So I'm still waiting on a breakout above this 2567 to go a breakout on the S&P. I will tell you, I'm a little bit concerned about the breakout trade on the S&P because of this little region there. So if that breakout does occur above that 2567, fairly quickly you might want to move that stop to break even because there's going to be some stall up in here right around that all-time high. So if we do get that breakout, just keep that in mind. That's an area that we're going to get a little bit of stalling point in. So in the Nasdaq, we still have a level up here of a small time frame entry possibility. We're not anywhere near that yet. We had yesterday, for those of you that watched the video yesterday, we had talked about getting long right down here off of this area from the past. We did, however, remove those lines as they're no longer valid in our analysis. And so we're going to take that away. You might find a little bit of a reversal in here. I'm going to leave this be. I don't like it as much, although 6,000 is going to be a strong psychological number for support. You could get a good psychological support number there at 6,000. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's nothing here that I'm in love with that I'm going to really want to hang myself out on a limb for. When I look at crude oil, so crude oil, we are still having a hard time getting above that 52.86 range. If I move this out to a bigger time period, you'll see that we have really slowed our momentum on this last most recent rise up. So our momentum is really starting to wane. We've got this area here, which acted as a reversal pivot in the past. All of this area here, there was this little touch and a move down, which acted as a reversal pivot. Now, the fact that we're coming into here fairly slowly really weakens this a little bit. But on the macro fundamental scale, there's a lot to be said for that $55 number in crude oil. Crude oil at 55. Fundamentally, if you can make money at 55. If you can make money at 45 and it's all the way up to 55, what's to say we can't drive it back down? And that's really what's happened for the last 18 months or so in crude oil. So I'm going to stick with the levels that we have. They're fairly far away from current price, but there's really nothing that's excited me, to jump in up until this point. Gold. Now, gold was our big mover for the day. For those of you that were able to grab the breakout that we had. So gold gave us a strong breakdown out of this 1276 area. We're now sitting at 1267. I would be very close to moving my stop. You're going to be getting a little bit of hesitation probably right down here. So I would be moving my stop down to break even. But gold was a pretty nice breakout entry for anybody today that was willing to take that gold level. All right, so let's take a look at our bonds and our some of our currency markets. So here on the 10-year note, we still have this level up here at the 125 area. Hasn't been touched, hasn't been anything near it. Unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to get anything near it anytime soon. So I'm going to leave that be as is. If you do want to go to a smaller time frame, a smaller time period, you might actually get a little bit of a breakdown entry, an entry to get short somewhere up in here. Nothing that I'm falling for. And so trying to stay on the bigger time periods, I've found that my trading is always better when I stick to bigger time period charts. And I think that's true for most individual investors. When I move to the daily, I've got this little area here that I'm still as my target for the short, bigger picture, longer term. The euro and the Aussie. So the Aussie, we had a breakdown out of this level here. Do me a favor, let me know in the comments if you're still short this Aussie trade. There's no reason not to be out of it yet because when we go to the daily, we don't really have any strong stopping point until down here at about 76.05. So there's still plenty of room for this thing to continue to fall out of that breakdown level. And there's no reason yet for me to be a buyer. When I go to an even bigger time scale, and I'm going to throw a study on here real quick, my moving average, when I look at my MACD, when I look at my MACD, what you can see is that I've got, we had talked about it. Actually, move this to the daily. We had talked about it on a daily chart a while back where I had higher swing highs in price, lower swing highs in momentum. Whereas earlier we had higher swing highs in price, higher swing highs in momentum. So this is more of a continuation picture. This is more of a reversal picture. I don't use it to make my decisions, but it does help me to confirm that I'm definitely much more of a seller than I am a buyer in this Aussie going forward. So right now, you're still got the breakout potential. Let me get rid of all these studies. Clean up those charts a bit. You still have the breakout potential. If we do start to rally back up, you're definitely going to have some short opportunities on the smaller time frame where you can get back into this downward move. If we rally back up, I would look at this range right here, 76.69 area as a chance to get short again if price does rally back up. The euro, I got to tell you, this is one I feel like I missed, and I did. I completely missed this. This was a really good breakout candidate earlier today, and I like these looks of where we had base, rallied up, base, and then skadoosh. That's really the breakout candidates that I want to look for are, areas of fair price, if you will, that have that if the price has been able to move away from, that it keeps kind of going back to in that fair price area, and then that strong breakdown out of there. And I feel like I missed an opportunity on this one. So for those of you that caught it today, I hope you were able to catch that on the breakdown. I unfortunately did not. But you know what? Live to play another day. And last but not least on this page is the Canadian dollar. So Canadian dollar as well. We've talked a lot about how the Canadian dollar really just trades breakouts. And here's another opportunity today to short a breakout out of this level. I didn't point this level out yesterday, so I'm going to remove that line. But the Canadian dollar does a lot of consolidate, breakdown. And unfortunately, I did not catch that one today either. Didn't have it on the charts. But I do think that we're coming to an area where the Canadian dollar could find a little bit of slowdown on this big move down. It doesn't mean that I would be bullish in any way on the Canadian dollar right here, but it might give us a short-term bounce to be able to get short somewhere back up in here again to continue to ride it down. All right, let's look at our last markets. And today we just added one more market. At least I thought I had added it. We're going to do the Japanese yen going forward based on the requests of a couple of traders. So thank you guys, Dennis, and a couple of you that had asked for the yen and to replace silver. So we will we'll start to look at the yen on a daily basis. That'll be the next one that we look at. So nat gas. So let's look at the nat gas level. So in nat gas, I had this gap fill level here. We did come into the level, got a little bit of a move away, and then it failed miserably. Now, why did I keep the lines? We talked about this level being not a great level, and I think if I recall, yesterday we talked about, since there wasn't a strong move coming out of here, moving your stop up to break even. But I don't remember if I had said that or not. And this isn't one that I normally trade. I just really kind of review this one because you guys had asked me to. So I did not partake in this move at all, but I thought I'd mentioned move the stop. If I didn't, I'm sorry. But when you have that kind of a weak move in, it's not a bad idea to do. But why do I leave the lines on? Well, because that area here, which was the gap fill, could be a catalyst for price to reverse and start to come back down. When I go to this on a bigger picture time scale, look at this on a daily chart, we've really got lower swing highs, 4 consecutive lower swing highs, and 3 consecutive lower swing lows. So logic would dictate that if we add another consecutive lower swing low, we'd be down here to around 2745, with ultimately, I think, price able to go down to 26 again. So just something to look at going forward. So I'm gonna remove those lines now, and I really don't have anything else to add at the moment in its place. Looking at the Great British Pound, this was a good one for us today. Price rallied up in. Now, this is why we call them confirmation entries. I need to be confirmed that it's moving my way. So price came into the level. We got, you may have taken the entry yesterday. If you did, that's okay. You didn't get stopped out. You had another shot at taking that entry right at in the overnight hours. And prices have fallen since that level. Now, since we're coming to this area right here, it is definitely now time to manage your stop, as we are definitely coming to some opposing buying in this region down here, and it might be an area for you to look at. There could be some support sneaking in there. Maybe even moving your stop down to just above 13241. Just to lock in a little bit of profit or pull a little bit off the table, below that 13241, because there is a fair amount of selling going on in this region as well. So hopefully that one's working out for you if you were able to get that short off of that confirmation entry. And then the Japanese yen. So let's look at the yen. I'm going to start on the weekly chart. I want to start on the weekly. I always like to start with a weekly, especially when doing currencies. Reason being is that those weekly charts really tell me a lot about the big picture scale. And so looking at the yen, what I see is just a lot of basing here sideways. We definitely have some buying when we reach this level that tends to pop it back up on the weekly chart. Eventually those buyers will run out though, and that would be something that I would be slightly afraid of. When I move this to the daily, what I can certainly still see is the same thing that we were just looking at. Let me remove all these drawings. When I look at the daily, I still once again see all of those buying areas down here. We're about to approach those again. So really, we've just been in this kind of chop, right? It's the yen has been in this chop phase for quite a long time. So if I move, that's a big zoom. If I move this down just a smidge, just maybe to cover all of this, you can see that this has really been a fairly strong area of support. Now, I'm going to color this blue because I believe that this could potentially be a breakdown candidate if we break below that region. Now, that's pretty far away on the daily chart, but it in my mind could be a breakdown candidate and could break down all the way to here, to where we had this little rally up from there. So when I go to a smaller time period chart, and I look at this thing on the hourly time period, looking up above, we have a number of different areas where we saw some equilibrium, if you will, between buying and selling. And that equilibrium between buying and selling has been pretty consistent, but the rollovers occur pretty strong on some of those tops. I am not a fan of really any of the levels that I see in front of me on the hourly chart. I will take a look. We may get a little bounce off of. Yeah, we've already bounced off that region, so I'm going to remove that one. We bounced off this region a couple of times, and then it failed. There's nothing on here that I'm a big fan of for right now. So I'm going to keep. We're going to keep our breakdown line in place. In the meantime, there's nothing in here that's really getting me all jazzed up, but we will continue to look at it. And this is a good thing about adding a new market, is that as time evolves and as we continue to to add levels and add lines, then you'll be able to see really how this position will change. So those of you guys that are subscribing to the page, thank you so much. Please feel free to leave the comments, share it with your friends, share it with your neighbors, share it with your buddies, and let me know what you think. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Hey, Astros and Dodgers are tied at 1-1. So my LA fans, my Houston fans, I guess we can call it even. Living in Houston, I gotta vote. I gotta root for the Astros, but my boy Todd Davis is definitely still rooting for the Dodgers. So it's a fun, healthy little competition. So hope everybody has a great day, and I will talk to you all soon. See ya.